Hi guys, and welcome to the start of my prep series for 2021. I am now 20 weeks out from my first show, which is the Two Bros Pro Tan Naturals, and then 22 weeks out from the first UK Arnold's. So I really hope you enjoy following me along for my journey, and let's get to it. So it is 7:20 on a Saturday morning. I've just done my check-in, and for those of you who don't know, my boyfriend Nicky is also my coach, so I thought it'd be quite interesting to kind of share something about him being my coach, because it's definitely something we had to work up to, more so on my part. I'll maybe even do a whole video on it, but a big part of being coached by your partner is just remembering that it's also their work, and as much as it's your hobby and your free time, it's not theirs. I send my check-in over by WhatsApp, which you will have seen, and then I don't say anything about it. I just wait until I receive either a written response or we chat about it, because sometimes there's a few things he might want to discuss, or if I've maybe raised any points. But yeah, I'm just sitting tight and waiting for his response. But in the meantime, I've just showered. I'm gonna go and get our morning coffee ready. So I'm just back from the gym. I did film a clip of my RDL, which I'll insert here. So that's the kind of best weight I've lifted for a while. That was 97.548. Funny thing happened today. Me and Nikki were sharing, we were sharing the hamstring curl at the beginning of our session, and Nikki accidentally grabbed my intra bottle, and in the moment thought, I can't ruin her prep on the first day and drink some of her intra. So he spat it back into the bottle, and then after I got up from the hamstring curl and took a drink, he decided to tell me that he backwashed into my intra. So I just drank a bottle of backwash. But
being a responsible cook,
gotta do what you gotta do. Can't miss out the calories. To be fair, I probably would have been more angry if you hadn't backwashed it. Yeah. So there you go. Little funny story came from the first day of prep. Hello, it's quite late in the day now, and I realised I haven't actually sat down and chatted about my prep, which was the whole point in this video. So today is day 1 of prep. I am officially 20 weeks out from my first show and 22 weeks out from my second show. I've only got 2 shows planned at the moment, but I wanted to sit down and just share with you guys the changes that we've made so that you can see the direction we're headed in. So we are taking a longer prep. I accidentally had a longer prep last year with the whole COVID situation, and it actually worked quite well for me, especially in the lead up to my first show. So we decided to go with a longer prep again. I also have probably put on a bit more body fat than we would have ideally liked, but it happened and it needed to happen for health reasons. So it's not the end of the world. We just know that we do want to pull things off, and that we want to make sure we do have enough time to do that. So we've done 20 weeks, and that's more than enough time to get the job done. As of tomorrow, cardio is starting. We've put, well, I say we, Nikki is making all the calls here. I am just doing as I'm told. I'm trying really hard to be good. Nikki has added in 25 minutes of cardio on upper body days and rest days. So on my leg training days, I don't have any. Today was a leg day, as you will have seen, so no cardio was in today. That is the cardio we have added in, just steady state, no hit or anything like that, just seeing how we can go. And then the only diet change we've made one, or again, Nikki has made one, and that is to change my yogurt in the evening from 10% fat yogurt to 0% fat. So that'll be a really good calorie drop from that evening meal. I'm heading into Lidl now to make sure that I've got enough 0% fat yogurt and all the rest of the food that we need. I didn't do a lot of shopping this week deliberately, because when you know there's a diet change coming, it's not sensible to go and do a big food shop and then have loads of food waste. So I'm about to go and do that little shop. So far, my first day on prep is literally the same as my off season, because there's been no food changes yet and I haven't done any cardio. So tomorrow will be a little bit more of a change, and I'm really looking forward to it actually. After like 6 months of no cardio, I'm really looking forward to getting a sweat on. Okay, good morning. I'm so sorry. Yesterday was so busy. I meant to film so much more of my day. It's like the first day of prep and just didn't happen. It was just quite busy, and I thought I will just roll this into a weekend vlog rather than just one day. So it is Sunday. It is still 10 to 8. The gym doesn't open till 8, but I am that loser that has to be early for everything. So I'm about to go in and do my first 25 minutes of cardio. Me and Nikki have been discussing what to do for my cardio, and I know that it's like a thing that like bikini girls love the Stairmaster, but I have never been on a Stairmaster in my entire life, and I'm not going to lie, it really gives me anxiety because I don't know how they would work, and I just have visions of me falling off it. So we were gonna have that as my cardio, but I am unfit and it sounds like a card that we could play later on. We also don't want to deplete my legs for 20 weeks, as that's probably going to be a bit excessive. So what we're going to do is start me on the treadmill. So I'm going to go and do some incline power walking on the treadmill. That's what the only cardio I've ever really used for other preps, so it's good and it will work. And then at some point, if we want to up the intensity without upping the time, we may introduce some Stairmaster sessions. So pray for me when that happens, because I feel like that's going to be a shock to the system. Yeah, I'm just literally sat here in my car waiting for the gym to open. What I might do is I need to voice note my clients, because I never got a chance to do that yesterday. I just did like a little weekly roundup in my group talking over some points, so I'm actually going to talk to them, because obviously the gym's just opened up last week. I want to talk about logbooks. So what I might do is quickly, I've got my work phone here, I'll grab my headphones, pop a little voice note in there talking through logbooks, by which point the gym should be open, and then I'll take you in to do some cardio, some light stretching as well. I am popped up a couple of fibres in my quad doing leg press the other day because I'm an idiot. So I'm just gonna go and rehab that. My mum is a physio, shout out to Marion. Whenever I hurt myself, I literally just text her and be like, what do I do? Is this what's happened? Tell me what's wrong. I'm gonna go and stretch it once I'm warm after the treadmill, because you should never stretch a muscle cold. So I'm gonna quickly do this voice note, and then I will go and do my first cardio session of prep. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so it's now a bit later. I've had my meal one, and I've showered, so I'm clean. I always feel so gross after cardio, but We've just been watching a bit of the Ben Weider Pro Qualifier from Two Bros on the TV. I will go and watch that again in a second, but it's now nearly 10 a.m. and every Sunday at 10 a.m. I have a call with my business mentor or business coach Bex, so I'm just about to chat with her, get her up on Zoom, and go over some business things. I have a lot of coaches in my life. I've got a posing coach, a business coach, my boyfriend does my competitive coach. I think it's so good to be held accountable, and if I wasn't, I definitely wouldn't do as much as I do. So accountability has a lot to answer for, and if you're struggling to reach a goal, make yourself accountable to somebody else. It's one thing to be accountable to yourself, it's a whole other ball game to answer to someone. So I'm just about to jump on that call, and then I will catch up with you later. I will never ever tire of this meal. Oats are life. Okay, it's now a little bit later, so I just thought I would show you guys what I'm doing because I'm basically organising my life. I think that prep goes so fast, and I've done it before where I've not been organised and all of a sudden there seems like there's lots to do. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I have a lot of appointments, and at the moment they were just all sat on my phone, like not in a calendar or anything. So I've written in like my bikini fittings. I have 2 or 3 photo shoot dates with clients that I need to be various places in the country. I am going to Fit Expo as well in June, the Kompak Classic, which is super exciting. So I just wanted to write that down and remind myself that I'm not going to be here. Also, it means I can get organised ahead of time because I'm so bad at leaving things to the last minute or thinking I'm organised when I'm not. And being organised was one of my New Year's resolutions. So here we are. And then I'm now going to plan out my morning routine. After doing cardio this morning, I decided that posing after cardio maybe isn't going to be the best, because some mornings when the gym doesn't open till 8, it's just I'll be rushed and pushed for time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch after cardio every morning, and I'm going to pose post-workout. And then as things get closer, like I have to remember as well, I'm 20 weeks out, I'm not 10 weeks, and like you can't see all that much at the moment. So fasted posing isn't necessary really because it's not going to make much difference. So I'm going to pose post-workout, and then I will stretch after my cardio in the mornings, and then I'll just see how things go. I mean, I've never had to work around a gym time before because I've always done cardio at home, so it's just new to me, and I don't want to bite off more than I can chew and then have no time on my weekends to just do anything. But yeah, now I'm all organised and I feel so much more on top of everything, and I like to have things written down. I'll show you. Ooh, so this is my passion planner, and I'm just starting to fill out next week. I've got a posing lesson with Phoebe on Wednesday, my call with Bex in on Sunday, and then I'll show you last week as an example. I kind of forgot about these weeks because things got so busy. But basically what I normally do is write my session at the top, and then make sure that I have check-in time allocated. Like that's quite a bad example. Normally my weeks are better than that. Here we go. So here is like a busy week, film, do 5 elite plans here, WhatsApp setups, things like this, and then I normally have a big list of stuff to do. So yeah, that is how I stay organised. Hi guys, so now I'm just going to cover a little bit about my off season with Nikki, who is my boyfriend, and my coach. So he took over my training back in November when I was about 5 weeks post-show, and from there we've now worked together for 6 months, and obviously I've only just started prep, so it's all been off season up until now. And when you took over my training, we changed kind of how my sessions were structured and also my training split. So why don't we just start with my training split. I actually did upper lower for like probably 2 years, and then I was doing push-pull legs for the latter half of my prep. And then when
it's just not ideal when you're trying to bring up hamstrings and glutes in particular to do like a full leg day where you've got like leg extension, hack squat, leg press, and then following that you're trying to do hamstring and glutes, which are the muscles that you really want to stand out on stage. it's not ideal for them to be done when you're so fatigued. So a big change we made was having a separate quad day, which was a little bit less volume, because we want good quads but we don't want them to overpower anything. But having a glute and ham day, so now we're able to do session 1 in terms of the movements. We're doing like hamstring, 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 glute, glute, calf. The following session on that split we'll do a glute, 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 hamstring, hamstring, calf. So now we're able to hit the hamstrings fresh, and in the other session we hit the glutes fresh. You want to be focused on every millimetre of the rep when you're doing a glute bridge, every contraction that you're doing when you're doing a hamstring curl, and if they're following up, you're following your squats up with the hamstring and glute segment, the glutes and hamstrings will always suffer, as the quads segment of the session is just so taxing. So to put the quad day on its own, that freed up glute and hamstring work, that we could do more glutes and more hamstrings, because we weren't trying to fit in the quad work, but also we're able to hit the hamstrings fresh, so the work's just so much more effective.
It's kind of like glutes were almost like an afterthought, which makes no sense for bikini, because
training like a bodybuilder, you're not going to then have glutes and hams that stand out. Bodybuilders want to have the entire physique head to toe proportioned. Bikini, you do want to be balanced, and it is a balanced look, but you still want certain muscle groups like delts, glutes, hams to be standout body parts compared to others. You don't want biceps and traps to be on par with your delts. Yeah,
like kind of my old training was good, and my physique was definitely balanced, but it was getting to a point where the muscle I was putting on almost needed to be a bit more particular.
Absolutely.
Because I guess with the bikini category, I'm by no means about to outgrow it or anything, but
when you're at the point where you can win overalls and turn pro, you need to focus on the finer details. You can't just be built, you've already built that foundation, now it's time to ensure that, the first thing people look at when you turn to the back of the stage is the glute ham tie-in. If that is an area that's not really showing, even when you're lean, that you want to get a little bit more carved out detail there, it really just means build more muscle there. And you're not going to do that if you've got a leg day that's dominated by quad work.
My hamstrings were probably the thing that was lagging, and so hopefully, definitely, we have brought those up.
Quads don't look overpowering now, and they were last year.
I know we're going to bring a balanced package this year. And then, just little things as well, like me and Nikki have been watching pro qualifiers and stuff, and like the 2 bro shows that have been on, and just looking at like the top bikini physiques, and picking out things like when you're in your back pose, things like my triceps don't really stand out, they're not very
particularly you want the long head when you have your hands on your hips, you want the elbows flare a little bit, you want to see development in that long head. So we've added like skull crushers, close grip bench press, particular exercises to build up that area, alongside doing the rope push downs that we were doing previously, but just a little bit more on them muscle groups, and hitting rear delts a lot more as well to try and bring them up, because you can only see so much with the hair covering the back. We want to make sure that the lats, triceps and rear delts are standing out.
My lats were always a bit of a lagging part as well, which I actually do think have grown as well, because again,
more volume.
We really increased my volume on pull downs. And because obviously when you're in a bikini pose, you like anything that your mid back is covered, because within the IFBB bikini your hair covers it. So it's not that back's not important, but you don't see it, and so you need to focus on the shape the back movements provide, rather than the
fancy on stage.
The detail. And like I said, I was 5 or 6 weeks ish post show when you took over my coaching. And so we had a lot of work to do with like diet and building foods up.
Body wasn't responding at first. We were kind of trying to pull post-show rebound weight back off. It wasn't happening, so we just had to call it quits with that and start actually like feeding Jenny's metabolism, building food up. And 3 months later, body weight hadn't even gone up. So kind of doubled food. Now it's 3 times the amount at least, but hardly any weight gain.
I know we were trying to wait for my body to slow down gaining weight, and then it wasn't. And then we did some blood tests and things as well, and we sorted that.
A lot.
We definitely, and we put a really big focus on whole foods, didn't we? And I'd really been stuck in quite a prep mentality of like using the same veg over and over, and not really looking at the nutrition of things, just getting the job done. And we really did put a focus on
implementing more fruit and just using a lot of supplements to help alongside.
Definitely. So I do have more info on that over on my Instagram, and maybe something I'll talk about on YouTube a bit more. I put a Q&A up on my Instagram, and I got a couple of questions about my diet, and there was someone who asked what my highest calories were, and we don't really calculate calories.
Just start, I do this with most clients anyway, just start with a baseline diet that you anticipate is going to take that client in the direction you want. You have a week later, a check-in process, that person's either dropped weight, gained strength in the gym, depending on how they're looking also, and there's so many factors that go into it, but that check-in form and how the client's looking, the changes to their body weight, you then know, does food need to go up, does food need to come down? So you end up basically just a baseline diet that you anticipate the client will benefit from, that's going to take them, get them off to a good start, and then you know that each check-in, right, do I go up, do I go down, how much food can I add, how much food can I justify adding in? Is training progressing at a point now where I don't need to add food because the composition's improving, body weight's increasing slowly? So it's a number of things that come into that. I don't think that a number alone on an app like a calorie tracking is really what's applicable to competitors, because there's so many other factors like movement day to day and
training and stuff like that.
Expenditure changes so much.
Yeah, I mean, so like there's not a rough, like we don't know any exact numbers or anything, but I was on like over 3,000 calories.
Yeah.
I would say I was probably pretty close training and rest days, and someone did ask me as well if my calories were the same on training and rest day, and they probably are less on a rest day, but
not an awful lot though.
But
you had some like salmon in and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've got higher fats. Yeah, on a rest day we use higher fats and lower carbs because obviously I'm not doing as much, and then on my training days it seems like I'm eating more because there's higher volume because it's more carbs and fats are lower, but the calories are probably equal-ish.
Like, there's nothing wrong with tracking your macronutrients and your calories, but Jenny likes to and eats the same things every day. Yeah. So there's really no need for us to know, oh, this is 40 grams of carbs, this is 65 grams of carbs, what can I sub that for? Because Jenny just eats the same stuff day in, day out. Likewise I do, because you know what foods digest well, and just when you're busy and you have a routine that you want to adhere to every day, you don't want to be chopping and changing your food. So we like to stick to the same sources. Yeah, we'll have, like Jenny will have like eggs and English muffin at breakfast every day, she'll have cream of rice post-workout every day, and that will never change because it's just, we're on autopilot with our lifestyle, so it just makes sense to use the same foods. Yeah, exactly. And like you said, digestion's a big one as well, and especially when you're building food high, if you start swapping things about a lot, it can get a bit messy. And like, I mean, if we really want to, we can macro fit, and on occasions we do. If it's like emergencies, like we ran out of rice, gotta have pasta, or we've gotta have something else, like we can make it work. That's reasonable once in a while, but for the most part food sources just don't change, so that's why we don't necessarily need to look at calories. We know that Jenny has 30 grams of protein in for every feed. I know how much carbs she has pre and post workout. I could ballpark, just like understand when you were doing this that long, you know that an English muffin's like 20 grams of carbs, you know a bagel's 40 grams of carbs, so you know these numbers anyway, but we don't need to calculate them down to the last number because, like I say, they just don't change.
We decided to do a 20-week prep, which probably seems like a long time to a lot of people, but actually last year I had a 20-week prep by accident, or a 21-week prep because of COVID, and I think you would agree with me that when I went on stage at the British finals, that I looked pretty good, and
still a nice fullness.
Yeah, and in that time, I was working with a different coach at that point, but I'd managed to have food go back up at one point, and it made the prep a bit easier.
As a position we want to be in, we want to try and, like, we're doing a 20-week prep. I'd like to get a head start in the first 5 weeks, then allow the body weight to come down really slow, like less than 500 grams a week at some point, because we've got that head start, so that we can just start to, like, as fatigue starts to build up, we can pull it back a bit. If you've only got 12 weeks to do that, and you have no time to pull back fatigue, so we're able to, like, maybe go hard for 5 weeks, pull back a bit, go hard for 5 weeks, pull back a bit, and then I anticipate Jenny's going to be 4 weeks out, ready to get on stage, and then we just need to, like, ensure that we don't fuck it up in any way. We just, like, we don't want to run flat for too long. We want to just assess and just see how much carbs Jenny can get away with to get enough fullness in her glutes and her shoulders, but not upset her stomach. So these things are really important. We don't want to be doing like a practice peak in the last weeks. It might not work, and then we don't have any backup plan for the actual show week. So I'd like to be able to toy with refeeds and seeing how much carbs Jenny can get away with, how much is too much, how much is too little.
Yeah, because like as much as you've watched my preps before, this is the first time you've ever had like full control, and so having more time for us to be able to figure things out is good. And obviously, like this season I am trying to go for my pro card, and we've got 2 shows in mind, my regional and then my first pro qualifier, but if that doesn't work the way I would like it to, then we might end up doing a few more. And I want to know that the prep we do can have longevity, and
I'd like to be able to pull cardio Like,
yeah.
I don't anticipate that Jenny's going to be doing cardio for 20 weeks solid. We've added in 25 minutes on rest days and upper days, so the glute ham day and the quad day don't get any cardio. But I would like to think that the last month Jenny does next to no cardio because she's already got all the fat off that she needs to, and therefore we can just allow the training to do its thing and just hold there and improve it that way. Once you're lean, the skin will continue to get thinner. It's not necessarily that more body fat needs to come off, you just need to get down to that weight and hold it.
So yeah, that's pretty much an oversight of what happened in my off season, and I put my weight in. I filmed that this morning. That's the heaviest I've been for since I started bodybuilding. It's good because there's no doubt that there's new tissue there, and 6 months
you've been less lean, lighter.
Yeah, so it's really good to see where I'm at. And I'm really happy with that. So that's where we are. I'm going to get Nikki back and do some more explaining about different things as we go through prep and give updates. So I think it's really interesting to have a coach's perspective, because obviously most people don't get that same, not attention, but they don't get the same explanation.
Yeah.
Like, obviously as a coach I know that everything does get explained.
It's important to be able to understand why you're doing things and not just follow along blindly.
Yeah, and just different preps will always, no prep will ever be the same for anybody, so this is a learning curve for us, and I think it's really going to be interesting for us to have this footage to look back on to see what we did and why we did it.
Actually last as well, 20 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I was checking yesterday morning. We were already having a bit of an argument. I know.
Coach yourself.
There's a clip in the beginning of this where I say that I've got better at letting Nikki do the coaching and me not getting involved, but then I went back on my word literally after I recorded that, so I'm getting better and I'm sure we'll document it. But I'm going to end the video here, so thank you very much for watching my introduction to prep video. I hope you have learned something, it's been interesting, and there will be definitely lots of videos to come over the next 20 weeks and hopefully some successful stage appearances. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Thank you.